Welcome to the Denton Vibe with Diva Girl Ellie, powered in part by Classic of Denton. The views and opinions expressed by the show hosts and their guests are those of the show host and guests, and not necessarily those of the sponsors, DentonRadio.com, or the Denton Convention and Visitors Bureau. For more information, visit the Policies and Procedures page at DentonRadio.com.
Late to the rising of the yellowing sunlight on the field. Stay by the willow, weeping at the water on its heels. But the light will come, keep those shadows on the run, and the dew of the morning will dry. You, oh my daylight, mirror to the grace I wanna know. Stay here by my side, carry me across the sea below. 'Cause the light will come, keep those shadows on the run, of the morning will dry. Sing from your heartache, make the nighttime feel the day, and rise in the daybreak. Take it with you on your way, but the light will come, keep those shadows on the run, and the dew of the morning will dry.
Ooh. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on the Denton Vibe with Diva Girl Ellie. We are here in the studio on Denton Radio on a rainy, cold night with Jarod Grice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for showing up and sharing your talent with us. I was so excited to get you in here in studio because I just absolutely love your music.
Oh, thank you.
And I am a new fan because I recently saw you, I think the past two shows you did in Denton, and I was like, oh my gosh. One was at Armadillo.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then I shared your music with my husband, and we were just really excited about your music. So I'm so glad to have you here, Jarod.
Well, I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And so I wanted to get to know a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
And we'll start out with who Jarod is as a Dentonite.
Yeah.
And who you are as a person, and then we'll go into your music and talk about all of that good fun stuff. So tell us all about your story.
Yeah, so I'm kind of still a fresh Dentonite, I guess.
Nice.
I moved here about 5 years ago, and I'm originally from Southwest Oklahoma.
Okay.
So I grew up in a really small farming town in Oklahoma, and went to college near the town that I grew up in, and moved here about 5 years ago. I guess it was in 2014 in the summer. And so, yeah, I fell in love with Denton. I moved here to go to grad school in Dallas, and originally was looking at living somewhere in between Denton and Dallas, like Carrollton or Louisville or somewhere like that. And you just stumbled upon Denton one day and fell in love with it, and went to Jupiter House on a snowy day, and
Did
just
you really?
and just loved the town, and it's stuck ever since.
Yeah, a
So,
lot of people get that Denton bug, and we just don't leave. And
Yeah.
that's a story for many of us Dentonites here. I know that it's a very familiar story. A lot of my guests come on and they say the same thing. So you obviously have been, how long have you been playing music?
So I started playing guitar when I was 14 years old. And I was obsessed with Stevie Ray Vaughan and wanted to play any kind of blues I could. And so, yeah, I started pretty young and didn't really feel comfortable singing in front of people. And played guitar kind of by myself in my room, locked myself in my room, and drove my parents crazy, you know. And then it wasn't until later in high school when someone encouraged me to join the choir, and I joined the choir and loved it, and that kind of led to me pursuing vocal music in college as a degree choice.
Oh, wow.
And so I went from being super shy about singing to studying it. So it's been kind of a long musical journey for me. But
And that's very common. A lot of people let that fear drive them.
Yeah.
And it's like unleash it.
Absolutely.
Unleash it and let it go, and just that's when the magic happens. And
Yeah.
I can imagine that's how you felt. And so you've been playing music ever since, and now your music is amazing. Obviously, I
thank
said
you.
that earlier, but you guys really need to check out his music live. I have him here live in the studio, sharing him with you guys. So what's going on musically as far as your work and your musical career?
Yeah, so it's kind of sped up in the last year, to be honest with you. For the longest time, I've been writing music for the better part of a decade. And when I moved to Denton, I started trying to play live and played at Banter when it was still here.
Really?
One of the first places I played. Yeah.
Nice. You're one of the Banter veterans. I am too.
Yeah. And then, got in on J&J's Basement. But otherwise, it was just, I was kind of playing 3 or 4 times a year. Just
Really?
wasn't playing very much, but I was writing and recording and creating a lot on my own. And then a good friend of mine started a record label. He owns a recording studio in town, and he's owned it for a long time. Cafe Solo Studios. They actually just won Best of Denton County this year.
Nice.
And he started a record label and asked me to be one of the artists on the label. And this was about a year ago. And so ever since then, it's just been full steam ahead.
Yeah.
The contract for the last year was to do 3 singles. So I've released 2, and I'm actually tomorrow night going to go and kind of finish up recording my newest single, which will be coming out later November, maybe early December.
Okay.
And then we actually are, this is still kind of unofficial, but we've been talking about doing a full album for the next year.
Nice.
So that's kind of what's coming down the pipe, and trying to play as regularly as I can. Right now I'm doing, about a gig a week,
nice.
something like that. October's been pretty busy. But yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. It's been pretty busy, and I still have to sort of balance work life with music, which can be challenging.
Yep.
Because right now music is still kind of a side hustle, but I love doing it. So yeah.
Well, definitely wishing you the best on the balance of that, because I know it is definitely challenging for many people. It's just life until eventually you're able to let go of the work hustle, as you put it, and you're just like, no, this needs my full dedication, and you just take flight. So I believe you will get there, and it'll happen. So what was the name of the first song? Because that was an amazing song.
Yeah, thank you. That first song the title is Morning, and it's a song I wrote about a year ago and recorded kind of myself at home. Hopefully, I'm planning to record that again professionally and get kind of a better full band recording of it. But yeah, that's a song I wrote. I think it was last summer that I finished it. So.
Okay. And then I remember also, which was one of the other things, and I'll bring this up, and I was really, really mesmerized by you and your wife singing together.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, that is so beautiful. And
Thank
she
you.
just jumped in there and just gave your already musical magic a special touch. So I want to give a shout out to
Yeah.
your wife because she
Yes.
sounded magical on that song.
She's amazing.
Yeah, I hope you guys get to experience that because it's a really awesome song. What is the name of that song, by the way?
That's a song that I wrote called "Hold On," and there's a funny story. I wrote that song. It was a love song, and I challenged myself to write a love song, but I didn't want to write kind of a cookie cutter love song. I wanted to write it about like the perseverance of love through difficult times and things.
Nice.
But I wasn't in love when I wrote it. I was single.
Oh wow.
And it was almost a hopeful love song.
Nice.
And so it's really special that now that I am in love and married to my wife, and she's got a beautiful voice, we get to sing it together. So
I thought it was wonderful, and I think that's part of the reason too that it was so impactful, that whole evening of your music. And then when she got up there with you, I was like, that is so awesome. I loved it. So I just had to make mention of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would love for you to share another song with us.
Yeah,
And what are
of
you going to
course.
play?
So I'm going to play a song pretty different from the first one, if that's
Yeah.
okay. This is a song that I wrote pretty recently. It's called Poison Blues. And it's a blues song that I
Nice.
challenged myself to write. And so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, these figurines won't bury me in the garden where my brother broke his back. And that willow bend won't stay my hand working on the devil's morning slack. We crucify the good we find and fill it with a bellow from the grave. With a slack jaw singing poison blues, we bow down to what we fear to lose. I'm just a beggar waiting for dust. These hands are sick of wearing down everything they touch. Where the alleyways have had their stay, you can't see why your kingdom's gone away. And we kick and claw for the curtain call, breathe in the safety that we've made. But love won't echo earthly names, reaches down and breaks apart these chains. Oh, darling, so lift your weary eyes up to the light, undoing everything in you. Oh, I'm just a beggar waiting for dust. These hands are sick of wearing down. I'm just a beggar waiting for dust. These hands are sick of wearing down everything they touch. Everything they touch.
That is a really cool song.
Thank you. Thanks.
That is really awesome. So okay, let's ask you, what kind of sound do you have? Because I know I can hear it and say, well, I think it's this and this, but what do you describe
Yeah.
yourself as?
That's a great question. I've been sort of a musical mutt for a long time because when I first started writing music was really sort of venturing into the folk realm and like the kind of real simplistic,
Yep.
easy sounding rainy day music. And then I met my wife, and she was raised on exclusively R&B and soul.
Yeah.
And so she started pushing me to sing that way. And, I discovered guys like Sam Cooke and,
Yeah.
Marvin Gaye and Al Green. And so it's almost like, I guess the way I would describe my sound technically would be Americana,
Yeah.
which is kind of this mixing, this meeting of
all.
blues and folk and country, and it all just sort of blends together.
And the reason I ask is because when I was describing this to my husband, I was like, you have to hear him. And I hate putting names and labels of other artists on an artist,
Sure.
but the best way to describe it to someone else is obviously that way. I was like, I saw him in Armadillo. He sounded like Mumford and Sons. It was awesome.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
then we
yeah.
go and then we go to the what was it, the folk festival.
Folk Fest, yeah.
And I'm like, well, he sounds country this time. I'm like, he's still great, but it's country sounding and it's more bluesy. And it was
Yeah.
just such a neat difference. And I was like, I don't know what to describe him as, but that's exactly what I heard both times.
Sure.
That Americana sound,
Yeah.
basically. So I'm always interested in what people think they sound like versus what we hear,
Yeah.
unless it's specific,
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's taken me a long time to find my kind of songwriting voice, because I think, as I was beginning to write songs, I was trying to sound like other people. And I just realized that that's not the voice that I have, and I have to lean
No.
into my strengths and really feature those things. And so I realized, I can sing differently than I've
Yeah.
been trying to, and that influenced my songwriting. And yeah.
Well,
so.
it's a great style that you have, and
Thank
it is
you.
your own. It is definitely your own, and I love that vibe you have going on. And so I
you.
can't wait to get to hear the whole album. When
Yeah.
you get to that point,
I'm excited.
make sure you come back here.
Yes.
Definitely, to share that with us. But I'm just going to keep asking you to play another song.
Of course, yeah. Well, you had mentioned Hold On, so I'll play that one.
All right.
Yeah. It won't be as nice without the second vocal, but
Nice.
I'll do my best.
The western wind is hard on my face, but you greet me sweetly with a kind embrace. The northern woods, sapient tall, they weep as they're watching our fragile bodies fall. Carry on, love of mine, hold high your head. Do not faint, do not die, don't give up yet. This old heart in my chest beats just for you, offering you my best. My love is true. And I'm breaking my bed to carry you home, but the pain that I feel is never enough. in the hardest days. Move under our feet, but the love that we share will keep us from defeat. Carry on, love of mine, hold high your head. Do not faint, do not die, don't give up yet. This old heart in my chest beats just for you, offering you my best. My love is true. Hold on, my love, 'cause I won't give you up, and hold on, my love, 'cause I won't give you up.
Wow. That was pure greatness.
Thank you. Thanks.
I'm like trying not to be emotional.
Oh, that's all right.
I'm like, okay. No, that's a beautiful song.
Well,
Very
thank you.
beautiful
I'm
song.
honored by that. Thanks.
Oh, no problem. So, okay, where can people find you?
Yeah, so all of my music right now, my singles that I've released are under my name, Jarod Grice, on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon, all that stuff. I also am on Facebook and Instagram, Jarod Grice Music, and that's where I post about all my shows and new music coming out. And I also have some music that I've released under my band that I was in previously called The Company. So that song Morning, for example, is under that name. So you
Okay.
can find that on Spotify and iTunes as well.
Okay.
But moving forward, everything will be released under my name, Jarod Grice.
Okay. And so are there any shows coming up? Because I'm pretty sure people are going to want to know that.
Yeah, so I do. November is another kind of busy month for me. Actually, tomorrow night I'll be playing out at Trinity Street Coffee in Decatur.
Okay.
And I'll be playing out there twice this month. I play again on the 15th for
Okay.
their 2-year anniversary.
Oh, very cool.
And then I'll be playing, I got a busy weekend. I'll be playing Saturday in my hometown, actually,
Oh,
in
really?
Oklahoma.
Oh,
yeah,
wow,
for
yeah.
something called the Cotton Festival. And it's like an annual thing they do because it's a cotton farming town.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all that comes to mind. Actually, I take that back. November 22nd at Armadillo.
Oh, very cool.
I'll be doing a song swap with a couple of good friends of mine and songwriters in town, John Earl Maynard and Eric Wade.
Okay.
So that'll be Friday, November 22nd.
Okay, you guys make sure to check it out, especially if you're here in Denton. I mean, there's no excuse. It's a great show, obviously. So
you.
definitely check him out. Check out his social media.
Yeah.
Connect with him. Follow with him there so you can keep up with all of his happenings and when that album releases.
Yeah, excited.
So we're going to go ahead and end and wrap it up with one last song.
Sure.
I have been so honored to have you here
Well,
tonight.
thank
I'm
you.
so grateful that you shared your music with us and everyone, and we can't wait for you to come back. So,
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
of course.
This next song is actually a really new one. I wrote this song about my hometown.
Nice.
So I've not played this for too many people. I have to kind of tune a little bit here.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is a song that I wrote, where I grew up. I kind of hated it growing up. And so I've been coming to terms with it lately. So
Yeah.
this is a song I wrote called Cottonwood.
Nice.
Well, I slipped out where the sun sweeps low, where the red soil runs the trees don't grow. I kept my head buried down. The roads run ragged and the fields run long, and them summer boys sang a different song. They work like mules and then move on, never knowing where they go. Chase the night like a ghost. I kept my eyes on the Lord above, tasted death and ruined love, felt those chains bearing down. But that red water never looked so good as the day I left them cottonwoods. Some old haunts don't let go, never knowing where we go. We chase the night like a ghost. Wait on the side, get your feet out the river, don't test that water, boy. We ain't made of steel in the winter, better know your limits. Wait on the side, get your feet out the river, don't test that water, boy. It turns cold as steel in the winter, better know your limits. Wait on the side, get your feet out the river, don't test that water, boy. We ain't made of steel in the winter, better know your limits. Wait on the side, get your feet out the river, don't test that water, boy. It turns cold as steel in the winter, better know your limits. You better know your limits. You better know your limits. You better know your limits. Yeah.
Woo. Thank you guys for joining us here on the Denton Vibe with Diva Girl Ellie. We will see you next week. Thank you so much, Jarod.
Thanks again for having me.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank our partners and sponsors who made this show possible. And now stick around for a word from all of us here at Discover Denton. Do you love live music? If so, make Denton, Texas your next vacation. Find more information at discoverdenton.com.